So Ravens flock. I did a retrospective video about talking about the 2024 Baltimore Ravens draft class. And as you would imagine, I also want to do one about 2023. I would like to do one pretty much about like most people this time of the year. I want to look back at the past several years, but mainly just within the Eric DeCosta era. I wouldn't really go beyond that point, of course, but I want to go into these players and look at how things played out for us going into 2025 now that we're 2 years removed from this draft class. So, quick recap on how the season ended. Lamar got hurt towards the end of the year. This was the second year in a row Lamar got hurt towards the end of the year in the pocket. He didn't finish the year, and we only won about, I think, like 1 out of 5 games or something like that, or maybe 2 out of 6 games. But either way, we lost way more games than we won. We still were able to sneak into the playoffs this year, unlike in 2021 when we just lost out once Lamar was no longer in the picture. But that being said, we drafted in the first round, we drafted wide receiver Zay Flowers from Boston College. This was a really good draft pick. There were several wide receivers that I liked. Now, my favorite was Jackson Smith and Jigba. I still think he's a great player, and if I'm being honest, I think he, despite having a different play style, I do think he would have fit us very well. But nonetheless, we picked Zay. I was still cool with it. It worked out just fine. I give this an A. I give this an A. Not an A plus, but I'll definitely give it an A. He's had a great career so far. He's had a rookie season where he had 858 yards, which was a franchise record for most receiving yards by a rookie in Ravens history. He followed that up with the second season where he went out here and he became a Pro Bowler. Now, you can make an argument that he shouldn't have gotten in the Pro Bowl over Brian Thomas Jr., who was better and had a better season, but nonetheless, he still got in, and him getting in is not nearly as disrespectful as freaking Falele getting in. So, I mean, a win is a win at the end of the day for someone like Zay, because Zay is still a good player who had a great season. There's debate on if he's really a number one receiver or not. In my opinion, I don't think he really is, but regardless of that, he's a great player who has a fairly high ceiling and also a high floor. I think Zay will be solid. Zay could be the type of guy who could probably get you at least 700 yards no matter what. You know, like he's that kind of guy. Even if you don't think he's truly a number one, he can still be a very productive receiver in the league. So that was a great pick, honestly. Like, you know, respect. I critique EDC a lot, and later in this video, I'm going to keep critiquing him, but that was a good pick. We did not have a second round pick in this draft. We ended up trading the second round pick to draft Roquan Smith. But in the third round, we drafted Trenton Simpson, the linebacker out of Clemson. I had some high hopes for Trenton because he was an explosive player coming out of Clemson, who seemed like he could have some massive potential. They clearly were making this draft move because in addition to trading for Roquan, they were ready to give up on Patrick Queen. But the ironic part about this is even people at that time were saying that Trenton Simpson kind of had a similar draft profile to Patrick Queen as far as the upside and then the downside. And so far, Trenton Simpson has not lived up to any sort of potential. He's been I can't even say he's been decent. Like he's on the brink of getting cut. Like, let's be honest, there's a strong chance that if Teddy Buchanan is really solid, and if they find maybe if they at least find like one other solid veteran for cheap or whatever, there's a serious chance that they could just let Trenton walk. Like, and to me, I got to give that a D- no matter what. I would say F, but you know, he still has some potential, and you never know. Maybe this year could be the year, and then I would change my grade dramatically. But as of right now, I would say it's more of a D. Like this, it's decent, you know. Next pick, we picked in the fourth round. We picked Tavius Robinson, the edge rusher out of Ole Miss. Tavius, I'll give this a C plus. Yeah. No, actually, no. I'll go better than that. I want to be more positive. I'll give it a B minus. Tavius has become a really solid rotational player. I don't think realistically he'll ever be a star necessarily, but he is a guy who is made his presence known on the defensive line. Even though he's not a star, he gets a reasonable amount of snaps, mainly because he plays the run so well. Similar to Odafe Owe. Now, obviously, he's not as physically gifted as Odafe, but it's very noticeable that he does cause a lot of problems for opposing offenses when he's defending the run specifically. Not saying he can't get to the quarterback, but more than anything, his calling card is stopping the run. You saw this in the divisional round against Buffalo. As much as I critiqued the Ravens not being able to consistently stop the Bills from running for 147 yards, I mean, they ran for 147 yards. Tavius was really the main person throughout the game, especially the early part of the game, that was making his presence known and blowing up running plays multiple times. So I think he'll be a very solid player. I don't know how high the ceiling is. You know, maybe he becomes a star, but probably not. I could see realistically him having a ceiling of being a guy who can maybe get you at his best maybe 6 to 7 sacks, which isn't too bad, especially for the right price. That's not bad at all. That's a respectable starter. So yeah, that's a pretty solid draft pick. I can give credit for that. The next pick we made in round 5 was Kyu Blu Kelly, the cornerback out of Stanford. I'm giving this an F. Obviously, I wish I could go worse than an F, like an F minus, but I'm gonna just give this an F. Kyu Blu Kelly, for the people that don't remember, they cut him before the season even started. Like, they literally cut him before the season even started. Like that's insane to me, man. Like, that really is, man. Like, he got no chance whatsoever. And hey, who knows? Maybe he just wasn't that good. But if he wasn't that good, that's also the same reason why I say, hey, we don't need all of these draft picks every year, because there's so many players like Kyu who we never even keep in the first place. It's just a waste of time, essentially. Why not move up? Imagine using the pick that was used for Kyu Blu Kelly to try to move up to get somebody who has a better chance of making the roster. I don't know, man. Either way, we like picking cornerbacks, so it is what it is. Like, they wanted to see what he got. I guess he didn't have it. Last time I heard from Kyu, last time I seen Kyu, he was, I think, with the Seahawks, and then I think he went to the Raiders, and I don't know what he's doing now. So that's definitely an F. In round 6, we drafted Malasala Amuave Lalu. I don't know how to pronounce that name, honestly, but that's the best I got. I'm gonna call him Malasala. He was the outside tackle from Oregon. This is another F, in my opinion. He's not on the team anymore. They brought him in hoping maybe he could be like a developmental offensive lineman. It has not worked out. Like, it simply has not worked out. And it is what it is. Like, there's nothing else to really say about that. I have no idea if he's still in the league or not. Last pick we made in this draft was Andrew Voorhees, the guard from USC. I'm going to give this a D. I don't think Andrew Voorhees is the worst player ever, obviously, but I don't like the way the Ravens have handled the offensive line, to be honest with you. And I've said this several times. Like, I'm not a big fan of their approach. Like, you drafted this injured guy, and then after 1 year, going into his second year, but technically his rookie year, because he didn't play as a rookie, you essentially just handed him the starting position. You let Kevin Zeitler walk for no reason at all. You let John Simpson walk. You also let Morgan Moses walk. And your solution was to let this guy be the starting guard just because? And people are trying to defend it and say, oh, he had 3rd round talent, but he fell because of the injury. Nah, man. He was a 7th round player. He hasn't looked like a 3rd round player yet. Now, I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he goes out there next season and does a great job, because unfortunately, it looks like the Ravens are probably going to run it back with him as the starter. But I really don't have high hopes for him, to be honest with you. It'll be great if he does live up to his potential, because that would definitely make things easier for everybody. I would, at least, at the very least, make sure the left side of our offensive line would be solid. But I don't know, man. I'm not super impressed with what I've seen from Andrew so far. I would give it a D. Doesn't mean he can't improve, but so far, man, I have some concerns, man. And I don't like the fact that the Ravens handed him the starting position without even really taking any any precautionary measures just in case he's not ready. Like, we don't take those type of risks when it comes to cornerback. I like TJ Tampa. I want to see TJ Tampa get a shot, but they're not ready to give him a shot. They want him to blow them away before he gets a shot. But then a guy like Andrew Voorhees, they just hand him the starting spot. I just don't understand it. Either way, I give this draft a grade overall of a C. Not a good draft, but not the worst draft. At the very least, we got a respectable starting wide receiver in Zay, who's a star and maybe even could become a superstar. And then we got a respectable rotational player in Tavius, who could potentially become a respectable starter. So that's just my thoughts. Let me know, were there anybody from this draft that you disliked or weren't a fan of, or that you did like and was a big fan of and you were happy were drafted?